Anyway, Florence, South Carolina, and here's what's amazing. Now, Florence, South Carolina is a great wrestling town. It's the old Crockett stronghold, and you are seeing two of the greatest performers in the ring. And if you're watching along with us right now, you will notice that the fans are sitting on their hands. I'd bet you in a couple of years they won't be, but it was kind of new to them right then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything's kind of new to them. I mean, they didn't realize, and these guys are doing some phenomenal shit, as we saw so many times from them. And the fans are not, they're just, well, I guess after Ric Flair is in the ring and does his dance and Sting comes to the ring and Hogan does his thing, I guess, this is not big for them. Is there any other way to explain it? Can you shed some light in your thoughts on this?
No, I think you nailed it.
Yeah. Because there's literally no reaction here, and it should be.
Yeah, they're just, I think in this era, people were here to see stars.
Yeah. Right. That's a good point. And these guys are not yet stars.
No, they're still new to the game.
Right.
They're not being positioned in main event. I mean, look how much time is left. And it's because what's going to close the show is the Piper angle. What's coming up, and you guys have been teasing all night on commentary that we're not hearing here, is where you guys have been saying, Roddy Piper is, we understand, is going to be here tonight. From what we understand, Roddy Piper will be here later tonight on Nitro. So it's going to happen in this last segment. Okay. And it's disappointing in the ratings considering how much it's been hyped. This is the first time we've seen him on TV. I know he was at Halloween Havoc, but this is the first time we'd see him on the show.
Right. Huh. Just
hey, were you hearing about Kurt Hennig? In this era, he was trying to leave the WWF and come to WCW. Allegedly, he met with Eric and agreed to terms, and then no-showed appearances for WWF TV and even house shows, just straight up no-showed. So Jerry McDevitt sends out some legal threats. Of course, they're going to be talking about tampering and things like that. So they're going back and forth, Kurt and Vince are. Do you remember hearing anything about that back in 1996?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, I think 1996 or mid 90s was when I stopped keeping my ear to the ground on the dirt. I got my dirt from other people. People say, "Oh, you know what's going on," and I would say, "No, don't know, don't give a shit." And now they say, "Hey, you know what's going on?" And I go, "Now they don't give a shit." People will send me, and even you've done this before. Will send me like links to tweets, right? And I won't even click on them. But mostly, I find out my news these days by other people, and I'm sincere about this because I know people that work in wrestling, that have worked in wrestling back then and now today, even now today with social media so prominent, that live and die by what is said on the internet. My God, you can't do your job like that. You really can't. And I just amazes me. So I try to shut myself out from the news of the day. And that's why I really try to, and you know this as well. And Silva knows this unless he forgot it. As we know, Dave will remember something on Monday, forget it by Wednesday. But on this podcast, I try to not indulge that shit because I don't care and I don't know and I don't want to know. I want to know how we can make our show better, how I can put over the talent, and that's it. I don't give a shit what the other guys do. I never did. So that's a long way of answering your question. No, I did not know what was going on back then. But I can imagine. I mean, it was a war, right? It was a war on TV.
Sure.
For ratings, it was a war behind the scenes. Absolutely. And the first real cannon shot was when Lex Luger showed up on our first Nitro, right? I mean, wasn't that the first one? That was the first one. Rick Rude.
What was bigger to you? Lex Luger showing up on the first Nitro, Medusa throwing the women's belt in the trash.
Yeah.
What was the other one you mentioned? It was Rick Rude when
Rick
he was
Rude
on both shows.
on both
Of
shows.
those three, can you rank those as far as like shock moments?
I think Luger's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rude 2 and Medusa 3. And it's not to say anything bad about a women's championship or women's title, but I just think that Luger showing up on our first show, they had him hide back in one of the offices at the mall, at the Mall of America was the big deal. And to me, that told me that that Eric was serious about being number one. Some of the fans popped on that superplex that time.
Oh yeah, it's a
Yeah,
big move. It got a reaction.
yeah, it's a big move. So
Tony, this weekend, I'm pretty excited about the AEW pay-per-view. Where's that one going down? New Jersey, right?
yeah, at the Prudential Center in New York.
If you had to just say, as a fan,
Yeah,
what do you think the top 5 AEW cities are? Like when you think, boy, that's an AEW town. Because sometimes we'll be talking about WCW or Jim Crockett or whatever,
yeah.
and we'll remark, boy, that was a
Wow.
Crockett town. That was an NWA town or whatever.
Yeah.
Does that exist in AEW?
I don't think it does. I think we've had good and bad houses at a lot of the venues.
Chicago, you wouldn't consider an
Yeah,
AEW?
you know what? That's a good one. I think the Wintrust Arena would be one, or even the Sears Center.
Yeah,
The Sears Center. No, it's not. It's
now
not
arena.
the Now Arena. Yeah, I think Chicago would be one. Yeah, I do.
Jacksonville, Daly's.
Obviously, Jacksonville, Daly's Place. I think in many ways, even though I know WrestleMania is going to be there or has been there, I can't remember. I think
Vegas.
I think Vegas was a big city for us at one time,
Yes.
and we run that on a regular basis, right? We've always done well in New York, New Jersey, and so that's been very, very good for us.
Hard to argue that Greensboro couldn't be after Sting's last match. I
Yeah, I
mean,
know.
what that was.
Right, that was really good.
Oh, London. Duh.
Yeah, London. Obviously, we're going to go back there this summer. Obviously, and Benoit just rolled up Eddie, which just goes to show you can be beaten on national TV and still be a big star, can't you?
Yes.
Wow.
Well said. I agree.
Yeah.
I concur. Count
Yeah.
me in.